2 different worlds. Yeah. But we made it work.
Somehow.
It worked until it didn't work. And then I'd say throughout like the majority of our relationship, if it didn't work out, we'd take a step back, and sometimes a certain somebody would think that this is doomed. Very doomed.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But then he started learning, at least with me, that if it's a small thing, it can be fixed, and a lot of things can be fixed through communication. Also, just, I don't know if you would say accepting, but like
Adjusting.
maybe. Like, you have to remember that this person doesn't know you. Like, we were very new to each other. We knew of each other, but we weren't really friends. We weren't best friends. We didn't
Never
hang
hung out
out.
or went to parties together or anything like that.
Yeah, we never partied together, which is crazy. And
Longtime follower of hers for, I don't even know, long time. I could say that.
good amount.
Mm-hmm.
Years. But he always kept it respectful, and then he bounced
I did.
like a tiger.
I did. I landed where I was bouncing. So that's good.
But yeah, we were new. And I think that was the hardest thing for us to accept, because at the time everybody in his life had been established, and there wasn't no explanation needed of this is why I am the way that I am. And it was the same on my end. So being a new person in each other's lives, it was kind of like, I don't know, like, you know how when you introduce dogs and like sometimes they're friendly and then sometimes they bite, and it was kind of like that, just feeling each other out.
That's a good way to put it.
And then when we separated, anytime we would separate, it would just be miserable. Just, oh, I hated it. I did not like being away from you at all. And I was leaving again. I knew I had like 2 weeks before I flew out again, and I spent every moment with him, and we were hanging out in bed, and we looked at each other, and do you remember the words?
No.
Nobody asked if, like, I didn't ask him, would you be my boyfriend? He didn't ask me, will you be my girlfriend? We just kind of looked at each other and we were like, this is it.
We doing this or what?
This is happening.
Basically.
And so I wouldn't assume. I would say that we just kind of accepted that that's what we
This is
walked
what we
into.
were doing.
Yeah.
You want to say the date?
Huh?
You want to say the date?
You can say the date.
August 13th. That was the day.
And then I flew out to Vegas, and I remember that was one of the hardest trips was getting myself to the airport was the hardest thing. And I remember the night before I flew out saying goodbye to you and telling you I don't want to go, and I didn't want to let him go. And I was just like, I can't do this. And he hyped me up and he was like, you can do this, you're gonna do great.
And she did. She did it. She was great.
I still didn't like it. I FaceTimed him like
I
the
didn't
whole
like it
entire
either.
time.
I didn't like it for a multitude of reasons.
He said he was gonna starve without me because I feed him so much.
I did. I survived, but I starved.
He said, what am I gonna eat?
That's when I went back to my lifestyle of chips and dips instead of like home cooked meals.
Bed
Got
rotting.
rather spoiled on that. Bed rotting, yes.
Chain smoking.
Yeah.
But every free moment, we were pretty much on FaceTime.
On FaceTime. We're getting back into that.
Yeah. You're loving it.
I am.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, that's pretty much the beginning. And then, once I came home, he picked me up from the airport.
I did. I remember it all very well.
He was the first boyfriend I ever had that picked me up at the airport. And
Watching her come down the escalator, cutest damn thing. It's almost like she had to go to the bathroom. She was like jumping around. It was so cute.
my happy dance.
Yeah. Her yellow hair.
At the time, it was very
It
yellow.
was very yellow.
And then he took me home. We had dinner. He surprised me to a very clean house and flowers and just a bunch of kisses, and so happy to be home.
Mm-hmm. It was great to have you home. I think that was your last trip, wasn't it?
That was the last time.
She hasn't traveled since.
Mm-mm.
I feel kind of bad. But at the same time, for my own selfish reasons, I don't. Because she hasn't had to leave me. So it's been...
Well, and it got to a point that, yeah? Well then. It got to a point that the traveling was taking it out of me. I had a lot of just personal stress that depleted my energy, and just my battery for all of that was just depleted. And
Jeez.
he made it.
You made it.
Simba moment, but I wanted to take a new direction. I didn't necessarily want to quit, but by the time the holidays came around, I made the decision to go do seasonal work and just take a break and kind of figure out what I really wanted. Because I was so torn. It's like I'm finally, my career is getting so expansive. Is that even a word?
Sure, it is now.
I do that. Yeah, the career aspect was expanding, and then he came into my life, and I didn't know how to balance that, because he had and he is something I always wanted.
I live a very I don't want to say basic life, because my life's not basic, but I don't even know the proper word. Ordinary.
I don't know if you would say ordinary, but just in comparison to this traveling performer lifestyle, it was a very, like, wholesome life. I would say your life is very wholesome.
Wholesome is probably the best word for it.
You do what you have to do to provide, and you're finding your way back to yourself, which is very nice. It's very refreshing.
It is. A job I never thought I had, or never thought I would have. Finding myself it just makes it that much easier, I think.
Yeah.
And you make it easier for me to find myself. I feel like I was never really looking until you showed up. She's got a way of opening my eyes to things that I never saw or even bothered to try and look at. I don't really want to say it was like my way or the highway. I have that mentality sometimes. Terrible.
Yeah, he does.
But when it comes to the way that I would think about something, she would present it in a different way, and I'm like, wow, yeah, that's way better than how I was thinking about it. 9 out of 10, it was always better. There's that one where it's like, nah, I don't like that, but
that's how that goes, though. And there's stuff that he just blows me away. Like, I grew up with an entire family being musicians and just real big music lovers, but he smokes me when it comes to like history of bands, and he knows all of the members of all of these bands, and I couldn't fucking tell you who half these people are. It's like I just listen to the music, and I guess it's a little jaded because I did know a lot of famous musicians, maybe not mainstream musicians, but very talented. One person that I always admired growing up was a man that played like 60 different styles of instruments, from strings to drums to flutes, and he was just an anomaly. And
talent.
So I also had very thick Greek roots, so I don't really think I started listening to like English until like my dad would play Van Halen or something like that, if the radio would come on. But this was before the internet, so the fact that he knows so much and the internet didn't even exist, he impressed me with that.
I got it from my dad. My dad was very, very much the same way. He, and I was obviously him well before the internet, so however he learned about all this was
Magazines, maybe?
magazines, documentaries that they did on DVD and stuff like that. No.
What
Okay.
is this? What even
No.
is this?
No.
Cut!
Oh.